Skunk on the loose. On my desk, I have a pencil holder that may look like an ordinary yogurt container, but there is a story behind it. It was a resulting in the woods that made me glance out the windows beside my computer. At the edge of the trees, I caught sight of a skunk, his black and white pattern duplicating the double light. He seems to be busy, borrowing maybe. My knowledge of skunks began and ended with their dreadful odor. odor. The next moment, though, the animal emerged from beneath the trees and zigzagged across the lawn. Plum-like tail stepped back and where his head should have been a bizarre-looking yellow helmet. As he came closer, I saw what the helmet was a plastic yogurt container. The cotton struck a rock and the creature whirled in another direction, only to bump up against our picnic table. For a second, he stood still, shaking his head frantically, but the yogurt carton was wedged fast. The skunk charged blindly back into the woods. I stared. I stored. I stared after him and at dismay. How long had he been running in darkness and terror? It would be it be the work of a second for me. I thought to pull that thing up, but the idea of pursuing a skunk through the undergrowth kept me immobilized at the window. How would I ever catch him? And then what? Wouldn't be spray me. I sat down and tried to pick up the thread of the story due in the mail that afternoon, but I could think only of an animal running till the dropped from exhaustion. Hadn't this sort of thing happened before? Might animal experts know what to do? I dialed the local SPCA. We only handle domestic animals. The woman told me, you want the department of wildlife. She gave me a number in Newport, New York. By now, the skunk was probably a long way up. Maybe someone else would see him, someone braver and more athletic. I dialed the number and knew pets. A man in the Department of Wildlife listened to my story, then held a muffled conversation. If skunks can't see you, he said, they don't spray. Well, that sounded all right as long as the skunk's head was inside the container. What happens after the cotton comes up? I asked. Make sure, the man advised, that he doesn't feel threatened. I wondered how one went about registering a terrified Skunk. You could throw a blanket over him, the wildlife man suggested, then run while he's finding his way out. That might work, I said, but I must have sounded as unsure as I felt, because the man asked where I was calling from and began looking up names of conservation officers in my area. How long would it take, I wondered, for someone to get here? Where would be the skunk be by then? I was gripped by a sudden strange urgency. I think the man hung up and ran outside without stopping to change out of my next to best slacks and forgetting about the blanket theory. I ran up our driveway to the road. Of course, the skunk wasn't there, nor did I know why. I was in his frenzy when I had seen him last. The animal had been heading the opposite way, straight down the hill into the woods. But my feet never slowed. I turned left and dashed down the street as though rushing to a long errand appointment. I had run perhaps 100 yards when a black and white streak emerged from the bushes beside the road and ran straight at me, the curtain bumping the pavement with each step. I stopped and grabbed hold of the yogurt cotton before the astonishment of finding the skunk hit me. The animal was tugging and twisting unexpectedly strong to get away. His front claws scrabbled against the slippery yellow plastic. His body strained backward, and still he could not wrench free of the cotton's vise-like neck. It took both of my hands, tugging the other way to hold on, until a small black had suddenly prepared pre, puppet pre, and there we were, facing each other, 2 feet apart. I don't know what he saw and how threatening or not the partition was, but what I saw was a sharp, querying nose, two small round ears, and alert big eyes that stared straight into mine. For fully 10 seconds, we held each other's gaze. Then the skunk turned, ran a few yards, and vanished into a culvert that goes beneath the road. I stood there, looking after him. 3 minutes could not have passed since I had hung up the telephone, but a timeless parable had played itself out. I thought as I headed back down the drive. The skunk was all of those needs I hesitate to get involved in. Involvement takes time and I have deadlines to meet. I probably can't do anything anyway. Somebody else can handle it better. Besides, involvement can be ugly, and the stench may rub off on me. And all these things, of course, may be true, but I have got a yellow pencil holder on my desk, a rather scratched and battered one, to remind me that every now and then God's answer to a need is me.